Hey guys, welcome to the channel. As you see in the thumbnail, what if Issei has been in relationship with amano Yuma with 3 months? Before I start, please do support for more awesome content, and subscribe my channel and like this video. Go support and follow the Tomy98 for writing that awesome fanfic, and also make sure to comment on this story. Link in the description. Wahoo, I did it. I was able to keep a girlfriend for 3 months now, and our anniversary is coming up too. I should take her out on a good date. I'm sure Yuma would be happy. To think it started off in a weird way with her asking me out. I was even known to be part of the perverted trio, but now it's just a perverted duo because Yuma taught me the error of my ways and making me a lot less perverted out in public. My friends, Matsuda and Motohama, even met her and cursed me with every curse known to date, because she was beautiful with her black, silky hair, smooth white skin and large tits. Yes, remember Issei what Yuma taught you, don't be vulgar and rude. I am a bit sad that Yuma goes to a different school, so I can't see her that often, 2 maybe 3 times a week if I'm lucky. She even told her dad, Azazel, of me, although she didn't say we were a couple yet. Issei, what was the cause of the First World War breaking out, and who were the first countries to enter it? The sudden question from my history teacher brought me out of my thoughts. I don't know, sir. I hung my head as those words escaped my lips. History was one of the few subjects I'm bad at, since you have to remember all the dates, and who did what to who and why he did that, and so on. It was hard to say the least. Of course not. Is there anyone who knows? I stopped listening since the teacher was done questioning me. All I wanted was for the bell to ring, since this was the last class of the day. As soon as the bell rang, I pulled out my phone and sent a text to Yuma of where to meet me for out date on Sunday. Still Issei POV. I met up with Yuma at the mall at 1 p.m. sharp. I even came 20 minutes early to make sure I would not be late. Once Yuma came, we headed out to look at the shops she likes so much. Then we would go to an arcade with some dance games, and when we get hungry we would go to a cafe and end the date with a romantic walk in a nearby park where you could see the sunset. See, I have it all planned out. Yuma wore a white blouse with a black skirt that stopped mid-thigh, the blouse showing just a bit of cleavage. Her silky smooth hair was let down. I wore a gray blazer over my black school uniform shirt with olive green pants, my brown hair in a mess as usual. As the date progressed, I could tell that Yuma wasn't really into it, and that she looked kind of sad, I guess, even though she tried to put up a cheerful front for me. I could tell because we have been together for a while now. I didn't want to be pushy or anything, but if there is anything making my girlfriend unhappy or sad, I would do my best to solve the problem. So I decided to ask when we were alone in the park. I tried to cheer her up a little, so I bought her a wristband, a pink one, as a sign that I would always think of her. It seemed to work, but not for long. As we kept walking from place to place, I could see her rubbing the band on her wrist. That just made me worry a bit more. At the park, Yuma and I were holding hands, sitting on a bench where we had clear view of the orange start descending upon the horizon. Her head was resting on my shoulder, and a sort of comfortable silence was enveloping us. As much as I liked it this way, I had to know what was making her so sad. Say, Yuma, what's wrong? You don't seem yourself today. I turned my head to look at her, only to see a single tear go down her cheek and a silent sniff that made me angry and sad at the same time. Who dare make my Yuma cry? Please, Yuma, I don't want to see a beautiful girl cry. Tell what's wrong, I'll fix it, I promise. Yuma turned her head to look at me. I couldn't resist looking in her dark purple eyes, and I swear I almost lost myself in them. The next thing I knew was that Yuma was ing me. This wasn't like our usual peck on the lips, but a real. I enjoyed the moment while it lasted. Her lips tasted like strawberries. But she soon withdrew her head and whispered, "I'm sorry, Issei." And I suddenly felt something stab me in the stomach. I touched with my hand where I felt the pain and felt my hand covered in a warm, sticky red liquid. I looked at Yuma, but I couldn't feel mad at her or angry or betrayed. I fell off the bench, my back against the earth. PP, please forgive me, Issei. I didn't want to be, but the order suddenly changed and she started crying and sobbing even more. I had no idea what she was talking about, and I didn't care. I was happy to know that someone as cute and beautiful as her would be sad for my death. Listen, Yuma, I'm not mad at you, I breathed heavily in between words. Don't cry, I want to see you smile one last time. She nodded and whipped the tears off her face, putting on a smile just for me and my forehead. My eyes started to get blurry, and I could see Yuma turning her back, and some kind of wings appeared on her back. I couldn't tell which color because of the sunlight. Did I date an angel? She must have been one. Issei, you're the man. And then she just flew off, her wings flapping. At least I got a nice panty shot before my death. Damn it, I swear I sensed some holy energy around here. I heard a girl's voice. I wasn't able to look at her due to her voice coming from behind me, and even if I could it wouldn't be of any use. I bleed out too much already. A pool of my blood already forming on the ground beneath me. Oh, you're dying, no shit, Sherlock. Some circles of red with all kinds of symbols appeared at my feet, and I was bathed in some kind of red light. The circle passed through me and it looked like some kind of an EMR scan. It seems you have a sacred gear, but the skin won't tell what kind. Guess I'll just resurrect you and find out. What is your name? Issei, I answered. But how would she resurrect me? With the much blood already lost, there is no way. She put something on and as she leaned down I could see her for the first time. What I saw was blurry. A head with big green dots and what I guessed could only be her red hair. Rias Gremery, if I wasn't mistaken. Whatever she put on started to sink in through my cloths and skin, and it felt like it dropped straight on my heart. It hurt like hell. I wanted to scream in agony and pain, but there was no more energy left in me. Whatever she did, I hope she was happy with torturing a dying man. The redhead closed my eyes and spoke. All I heard was a bunch of sounds, not even able to tell if she was even speaking Japanese anymore. With that I let out my last dying breath before everything went dark. Yeah, I had woken up very suddenly and with cold sweat all over my body. I swear that was the weirdest and most scary dream I had so far. Anyway, better get ready for school. As I walked into the school I noticed that the girls didn't hate me anymore, and that I'm on neutral terms with them now. So Murayama and K-Taste don't even bother me about being a perv anymore. I met up with my two good friends inside the school, Matsuda and Motohama. We met at the staircase that lead to the first floor of the new school building. As we stood there and greeted one another, the famous Rias Wani-sama walked down the same stairs as us and giving a long-lasting look at our direction. Oh, did you see that, Issei? She totally looked my way. She is beautiful, isn't she? Matsuda said, his eyes having hearts in them and ogling her while she continued down the stairs. Yeah, I guess. Eminem looked at me in shock like I had broken the most important law or something. Issei, my boy, are you alright? You're not feeling sick, are you? Motohama asked, his glasses almost falling off his nose. Guys, you know I have a girlfriend, so there is no way I'm going to look at another girl that way. I felt stupid having to explain to them something they already know. What girlfriend? I think we would have known had there been one. I gave them a defuck look since they even met her in person. Dude, both of you met her in person, so WTF are you talking about? They are acting like I don't have a girlfriend so they could feel better about themselves probably. I think I would have remembered her name if I were to have met a girl, Matsuda said. Fine, maybe this will jog your memory. I took out my phone and searched for my picture of Yuma. Strange thing was I couldn't find it. Never mind, her number alone should suffice. And so I went through my contact list to find her number missing. I was frozen in shock. Could it be that I had dreamed 3 months of my life and fell in love with my own imagination? No, this couldn't be. There is no more perverted trio, so it couldn't have all just been a dream. Something messed up is going on. See, even you can't find her. Maybe you're just depressed about being without a girl. But don't worry, your best buds are here to help. Later at my place we could go watch some porn. I have the new special edition of Magical Girl cosplay. Matsuda tried to cheer me up, but I was too shocked to care about that right now. Sorry guys, I can't today, I have something I have to do. You're lost, they said in unison. Once the end of school came I rushed out and started going about town thinking. This whole thing was messed up. Could my mind have tricked me into believing I had a girlfriend and that all those dates really happened? As I kept wandering around I stumbled upon the same park where I had died. It had turned dark already. I walked up to the bench where Yuma and I sat and couldn't help but let a tear drop at the thought that I would never see Yuma again. Now what do we have here? A strange voice spoke from behind me. It was clearly a man though. I turned and saw a man clad in a trench coat with a gray fedora. He was rather tall and looked like one of those trained rapists from a porno I once watched. Ah, please don't rape, I yelled and took a step back only to find myself actually making a leap back. I turned once more and started running away from the man that came out of nowhere. Then suddenly feathers started falling from the sky, black feathers, like the ones Yuma had. Yuma, I whispered to myself. The fedora-wearing man flew over me and landed right in front of me before I backed up once more. This is why I hate low classes, the fedora man said. This has got to be a dream again. Yeah, this is a dream. No way in hell could this be real. There is no presence of your master or comrades. If I were to analyze the situation, you would seem like a stray. Then don't analyze. There is no point in making such decisions. I don't think my witty comment will save me from him. The fedora man gave a grunt at my comment and raised his right hand where some kind of spear appeared out of nowhere. The spear seemed to glow in the dark as if it was a source of light by itself. I turned to run once more, but just as I turned, the spear pierced me through the stomach. I fell to my knees, the head of the spear going through me and sticking out. I screamed in pain and agony as I tried to pull it out, only to have my palms burned at the lightest touch. I'm sure the pain is unbearable, as light is like poison to your kind. Even though the first strike wasn't fatal, I'll make sure the next one is. The spear suddenly vanished, leaving a gaping hole in my stomach, the wound not starting to bleed like crazy. The pain was too much to bear, and cold air touching my insides did not help me remain awake. Next to me a circle appeared that glowed a bright red light. From the circle a girl appeared. More specifically, Rias-senpai appeared. I fell fully to the ground, unconscious. Normal POV. Rias shot out a ball of destruction to stop the fedora-wearing man from sending yet another spear at the body of her pawn. The man decided to take care of the bigger threat rather than finishing of a half-dead boy, so he threw the light spear at Rias. But one of her servants appeared through another circle and blocked the attack for her. The person who blocked the attack was Tujo Kaneko, a rather small girl with short white hair and not endowed in the area, unlike her master, Rias Gremory. The spear reflected back to its owner, who as soon as he got hold of it charged head first at the red head. Fortunately for him, a lightning strike missed him by mere centimeters, at which he stopped his charge in order to back off. The one who sent the lightning strike was no other than Himejima Akino, another one of Rias's servants. She has waist-long black hair which is tied in a ponytail. Her size seemed to rival that of her master's. Wait, red hair, you are Rias Gremory, of the Gremory clan. Correct. The spear the fedora man held vanished as he saw that he would not stand a chance in a 3v1. Indeed. Who would you be, Mr. Fallen Angel? Rias's voice was neutral and her face held that diplomatic smile one would use in negations. My name is Donasik. I did not know that the Gremorys patrolled this territory. Is that boy part of your family? The fedora man, now known as Donasik, asked, implying to the boy that was still dying on ground. Indeed he is, so if you try to harm him any more I will not show you any mercy. The eyes of the redhead gained a predatory look as she finished that sentence. You should not let your servants wander around like that. I might kill them on an afternoon stroll. He tipped his fedora in order to hide his eyes from the predatory ones of the Gremory. The same goes for you, Fallen Angel. Do anything similar and I will not hesitate to kill you. Very well, I will retreat. I do hope we never meet each other again, miss. With those farewell words, Rias took the dying boy in her arms and teleported to his house where she could heal him properly. The next morning, Issei POV. Wake up, master, wake up. Wake up, master. My arm went for the alarm clock to turn it off. I have to get ready for school, but I feel so sleepy. Another strange dream, I mumbled as I started to stretch my arms. The covers fell off of me and I'd covered that I was in the nude. I never sleep in the nude. I should search for my cloths. I decided to check the rest of the bed as I might have just forgotten them somewhere under the covers. Once I removed the covers from the rest of the bed, I was shocked to see Rias-senpai in my bed. I fell off in disbelief at what just happened. What, how, why, when, Wait, Issei, don't panic. So brain, try and remember what happened. Did I lose my virginity? I hope not. That would be cheating on Yuma. Rias then began to wake, her eyes opening lazily. Sitting up, she started to stretch just like what I did a moment ago. Good morning. She didn't even make any moves to cover herself up. Why are you here? Is this like a continuation of my dream? I screamed, still in a bit of panic. Rias giggled at my antics. This is reality. All those things that happened are all real. I am Rias Gremory and I am a devil. And I am your master. Nice to meet you. Hi to Issei-kun. Her smile at the end did nothing to reassure me. And what is this about being a devil? Issei, get up or you'll be late for school. The sound of my mother calling me, accompanied with the sound of footsteps on the stairs, made me go in a major panic. What would my mother think? I'm in my room with an equally girl I have never talked to before, and she is not even embarrassed about showing off her private parts. This is not going to end well for me. I'm up, so don't come in my room. You could hear the panic in my voice, but I didn't know what else to do. I could still hear her footsteps coming up the stairs. Shit, she isn't stopping. What do I do? What do? If I cover Rias with a blanket, maybe Mom will think there's a pile of cloths under it instead of a girl. I take the blanket and rush to cover her before Mom could enter, but just as I was halfway done, with her upper half still, she walked in and froze where she stood. It's not what you think, I shout. Good morning, Rias, you aren't helping me survive. Good morning. Stuttering, she closed the door and raced down the stairs screaming thing like, honey, he has a white girl in his room. Well, fuck. How will I explain this to them? More importantly, what happened? Brain, remember what happened last night. And please tell me I didn't lose my virginity to her. Your family sure is energetic in the morning, talking like she doesn't have a care in the world, even when other people see her half. I can see. See what she asks? I had this huge urge to facepalm at that stupid question. Everything, now get dressed, I almost yelled in her face. What, you don't like what you see? Not that I don't, but I have a girlfriend, so please, for the love of God, quad. A sudden headache hit me and almost made me lose my balance. You are a devil now too, so you shouldn't do things like praying to God. She stood up and went to a pile of neatly folded cloths in the corner of my room, starting to dress herself finally. So how is your abdomen feeling? She asked out of nowhere. Wait, how do you know what I dreamed? I asked. It wasn't a dream. She turned to me, her ass still out for the world to see, but I turned away since I was still and would rather keep my private part private. I am amazed at how your body is resilient. You took a serious injury, and it almost hit your spine and healed in one night. That sure is something. She continued dressing herself. Next was the bra. Healed? I asked. Yeah, I bathed your body in magic during the night. Okay, but senpai, why are we? I asked again. I told you, I had to bathe your body in magic overnight to heal you, and to do that I had to embrace you in the nude, talking like it was the most obvious thing in the world. So the power of nudity saved my life. The logic is strong in this one. Could you hook the bra for me? Came the question. Yeah, sure. After that I got dressed too and we both went down for breakfast. The weirdest thing is that my parents seemed to believe anything my senpai told them. Thing like it was normal for students to sleep together and similar lies. We walked to school together, although I was a bit reluctant too, since bad rumors might start that, and I would not want to get in trouble with Yuma. The students didn't take it well. They yelled in outrage and disbelief at how I stole their great one-sama and the like. I tried to ignore as much as I could. I will send someone to fetch you later, okay, she said at the school gate as we went separate paths. But just as she went out of earshot, a fist connected with my face. Why was it you and not one of us? Came the angry voice of Matsuda. Wait, let's hear his explanation first, was the reasonable voice of Motohama. Matsuda, Motohama, have you two ever seen us right in front of you? I wanted to tease the fools and to get back at them for hitting me. After my warm welcome, the rest of the day was rather uneventful, not that I wanted it any other way. But just as class finished, the school's pretty boy walked into my class. I didn't hate him anymore because I had a girlfriend now, even if the number and pictures of her are gone. All the girls were swarming around the poor guy. Was he even able to breathe? I was sitting at desk too lazy to pick up my things and go home yet until Yudokiba came up to me. Hi, what do you want? He isn't a person I normally talk to, so I wanted to get straight to the point. I came here on the order of Rias Gremory. So it's you she sent. I started getting up, slinging my bag over my shoulder. Lead the way, Prince, I said, and he nodded in return, leading off to somewhere. At least girls didn't that much protest at him leading me away somewhere. They were more like, don't you dare hurt his feelings, and two boys. That could be kinda hot. I ignored the comments about two guys being together, as I am not gay. He led me to the old school building. It wasn't used much, only for storage for things that couldn't fit in the new one, things like janitor supplies and such. But even with that, no one really comes here. We went up some stairs until we came up to a room that was filled with like pentagrams and circles and such. It all looked very occult, so to speak. The room was also nicely decorated, nice carpet, some very fancy couches, a glass coffee table, and is that a shower I hear in the background? On one of the couches sat a girl, short white hair, wearing the girl's school uniform. She was rather small and was eating a piece of chocolate. I think I saw her before. Before I could ask, Kiba walked in front of me saying that is Tujo Kaneko-san. She is a first year. And this Hayato Issei-kun, he tells the girl. Nice to meet you, was my nervous response. Now I recognize her. She is the unofficial school mascot, because she is so damn cute. She looked at him, then at me, nodding her head as acknowledgement of my presence, and goes back to eating candy without a worry in the world. Out of nowhere came a girl with long hair tied in a ponytail, with an orange ribbon that came all the way to her thighs. Her is as big as Ria's senpai's if not bigger, and they jiggled all the time while she was walking to me. I wonder if she is even wearing a bra. So you are our new club member, it's nice to meet you. I am the vice president, Himejima Akino. Hope you have a nice time here. She gave a bow and giggled at the end. She really reminds me of Yamato Nadeshiko. I am Haida Issei. It's very nice to meet you, rubbing the back of my neck while I stutter like an idiot for no reason. Akino-san is also known as the school's second great one-isama, with Sonar Suitor taking the 3th place. I don't know why they are so popular, just because they are beautiful and have great grades and lots of friends and everybody likes them. Oh, maybe that's why. Ah, thanks for waiting. I didn't feel comfortable using your shower, so I took one here out of the curtains that I assume lead to the shower, came Rias, fully clothed in the academy's uniform and drying her hair with a towel. Yeah, no problem, was my response. Okay, now that we are all here, let's take a seat. We all took a seat as Rias said. I sat next to Kaneko, while Kiba sat next to Akino. Rias was the only one standing, although she was leaning against a huge desk. We here at the Occult Research Club would like to honor your attendance. I have off some weird noise. The fact that they rejected me last year when I first heard of the club was still in my mind, and now here I am joining without even asking. So you could imagine how I feel. But the Occult Research Club is only a facade, something like a hobby for us. What do you mean hobby? Well, to keep the explanation short, we are all devils. That was very short. The black-winged man from yesterday was a fallen angel. Even though they were God's soldiers, they held impure ideas and therefore fell from heaven. While controlling humans, they attempt to destroy us devils. I was listening to her intently, like someone would when talking about their favorite book. This all just seems too surreal to me and made up. But the effort she made to learn all that looks impressive. Aside from the fallen angels, there are also angels sent by God with the order to kill us. In other words, we are being attacked from all sides. You following so far? She asked all of a sudden. It kinda seems far-fetched. I didn't want to insult them, but this all sound way too crazy for my liking. Amano Yuma. At the sudden mention of my girlfriend, I turned serious. You haven't forgotten her already, have you? You were a couple for like 3 months after all. I didn't like the look in her eyes when she mentioned her. It was like a hunter retelling his story of a great beast he slew. Where have you heard her name? Everyone else seems to have forgotten for some reason. But I don't want to talk about her here in the ORC room. I stood up with the intention of leaving this place, and maybe never returning. Out of nowhere, Rias put a picture of me and Yuma. We were on one of our dates. She was laughing at me as a pigeon decided to take a shit on me. At least he took a shit on my shirt and not my head. She did exist, that I know for certain. I put the picture of Yuma and me in my bag and sat back down. Okay, so they know something I don't, and she knows while others have forgotten for some reason. I think that is more than enough reason to stay and listen to what she has to say. She is a fallen angel, just like the man that attacked you last night. But my friends don't seem to remember her, and her phone number. I cut her off until she cut me off. She used her powers, just like I did with your parents, and when she had completed her job, she erased the memories of her from everyone around you, the redhead explained. Her job? I asked, but more like mumbled to myself. I was sure, no, I know for a fact that she loved me just as much as I loved her. There is no way that that was just a job to her. She really loved me, otherwise she would not have cried for an idiot like me. Her job of killing you. No, something is wrong here. She told me the order suddenly changed or something like that. Maybe she was ordered to kill you because of this sacred gear inside of you. But then again, it would have been easier to bring you over to the fallen angel's side and be one of them. So why? What is a sacred gear anyway? I only hear of it once when you scanned me before I died. Was I really killed for something I didn't even know I had? It is a power randomly given to humans. It believed that many with such powers had inscribed their names in history, Akino explained. And sometimes people are given powers great enough to threaten the devils and angels. Rias continued upon Akino's explanation. Issei, raise your left hand. Why my left? I asked. Or right. It doesn't really matter that much. So I raised my right hand, just out of spite. Yet just like that. Now imagine the strongest image you can. That's easy. I was going to imagine something when suddenly Rias crossed her legs as she was leaning against the table. I could totally see her panties. Even if Yuma was made me into less of a pervert I still am, and the fact that I could see her panties so easily made it very hard to focus, if you know what I mean. XD. Focus, Issei, I told myself. Yuma is still out there, and she is the only girl for you. So don't be stupid and look at other girls like that. That's right, Issei. Focus, Rias, you aren't making it any easier for me. I can't do it right now. There is too much stuff to take in all at once. I lied. There is no way I could admit her panties are the reason. But I just have one question, I said. This is just something that bugs me. If Yuma killed me, how am I still alive? I resurrected you. You Issei are now part of the Gremory family, of my peerage. As my devil slave, her hair moved and from her back sprouted bat-like wings. They were huge and leathery. I don't like them. Yuma had much more beautiful wings, at least the parts one remember. After the wings sprung from the back of Rias, it took not long for the others to do the same. From the back of everyone wings sprung, the same black and leathery bat wings. As wings appeared, I could feel this like itching sensation on my own back at the shoulder blades. It took me by surprise and almost took me off balance when a pair of the wings came out of my own back. I think that was when I finally believed about the devil stuff and that I was not human anymore. By making contracts with the devil, you can greaten your powers. Since people don't draw symbols on the ground to summon us devils anymore, we use these pamphlets to people who look like they would summon a devil. Rias explains. Once my wings retract into my back and point at a large stack of said pamphlets. Usually our familiars do this, but since you are a newly resurrected slave, she said. Slave? And here I thought we got rid of all slavery around the world, I outed as I started to place the pamphlets in a bag. Well, that's just the technical term, even though almost no one treats their peerage members as slaves, since they do help in gaining you status in the underworld. And if you do well enough, you can have your own slaves. Well, Rias does seem like the kind of master that would be nice to her slaves, but still the lone thought of it made me a bit uneasy. To be someone's slave and to have to do whatever they tell you to. I don't need nor want slaves or a peerage. All I want now is Yuma, I said with as much determination as I could master at the moment. Anyway, please do get on that job, at least she is polite. Maybe she could be a real friend and just master. Once I finished packing the stacks of pamphlets, Rias gave me a rock. I look at her with a deadpan expression. What am I supposed to do with a rock? Break into people's houses and leave a pamphlet there? That is a device that helps us locate people with enough dark desires who would be willing to summon devils and make contracts with. So that should be all. Off you go, she explained and gave me the green light that I am all set and good to go. I went on a bike with the bag over my shoulders. I looked at the rock from time to time to look for the greedy and whatnot. But I was mostly trying to go around the places I went on dates with Yuma. Maybe she would be at one of them, waiting for me. Does she even know that I'm alive, that I'm a devil now? I hope that will not change anything between us. Maybe she would be at the place where I died, reflecting on her actions or I don't even know anymore. I'm racing around like a crazy guy trying to find that one special person. I must look pathetic. I'm just too happy and sad at the same time. At one point I know Yuma is real now, and the other is that she might not know that I am still alive. I got to the park where I last saw her, the love of my life. I sat at the bench where I was stabbed. I couldn't help but shed a tear at the memories with her, and could only hope to find her again. I stood up, wiped the tear from my eye and walked back to the bike, motivating myself along the way. Enough of this sappy crap, you need to man up, Issei. You can't cry over this since you will find her, and be back with her, I told myself so I would cheer up, and thankfully it worked. I handed out the rest of the pamphlets and went back to the ORC room. I finished the deliveries, I yelled as I entered the club room. Rias was sitting at her desk looking over some papers, and Kaneko was sitting on one of the couches eating ice cream. This little girl sure likes her sweets. Oh, hello, Issei. I have another job for you. Kaneko here has 2 contracts at the same time tonight, so you will have to take one of them for her. Rias looked up from her papers. She didn't look as cheerful as before. Maybe she was bored or doesn't like what is written on those papers. Yeah, sure, my very first contract. Well, it's Kaneko's, but the first one I'm going to, so yeah. Thank you for the help, came the monotone voice from the white-haired loli who was eating her ice cream. Rias called for Akino to make me a magic circle so I would teleport to the contract's house. Raise your right hand, Issei, I did as she asked, and she drew something on my palm while some kind of red light was emitting from her index finger. After she removed her finger, a red glowing mark could be seen on my skin. That is the crest of the Gremory clan. It will allow you to use the Gremory magic circle for teleportation. So are you ready? The redhead asked. Yeah, of course I am, I answered quickly. That's the enthusiasm I want to see. Now step into the middle of the magic circle and get yourself your first contract. I listened to what she said, walked over to the middle. The circle glowed a brighter red light until it was almost blinding. The light died down, and I was expecting to be in a different room with a single person in it. I was disappointed by still being in the same room as everybody else. They all had sweat drops on their heads as they looked at me. Well, if that won't work, you are going to have to use the bike again. Kaneko gave him the address. The disappointment could be heard clearly in her voice. She expected it would work, and to be honest, so did I. I don't know what could have made it fail. I was given the address and sent with the bike to the client's home. What kind of devil is summoned by bike? I arrived at his house. It was a normal-looking apartment building with stairs to climb up to the apartments on the first floor. I knocked on the door and said, "Good evening, Mr. Morisawa-san." A tall man with long hair and glasses opened the door just enough to take a look at me, before saying "Go away" and closing the door right in my face. "Wait, you summoned a devil, right?" "I'm the devil you summoned for tonight," I yelled and banged on his door. "I only summoned Kaneko-chan, not some boy." The muffled voice of the man was heard through the door. I could understand the guy's confusion. He is used to Kaneko fulfilling the contract instead on some new guy. Kaneko had too many contracts today, so I was sent to this one while she attended some other one. I yelled back. There was a silence for a few moments. Maybe he was thinking of calling the police. I hope not. "Please let this turn out okay. Why haven't you come from the magic circle like Kaneko-chan does?" His muffled voice was heard once more. "I'm new, so I don't know any magic yet, so I had to come by bike," I said, sounding kind of sad. The silence returned shortly after I said that, making me very uncomfortable and nervous at what would happen next. If this guy sends me back to Rias, will I get some kind of punishment, or would I just keep handing out those pamphlets for all eternity? As those kind of thoughts kept going through my head, the door silently opened, accompanied by the man's voice saying, "Get inside." Mr. Morisawa made me a cup of tea before sitting on a chair at a desk. "So if you're a devil, you must have some kind of powers, right? Show them to me." The question took me by surprise. Powers? Just out of curiosity, what kind of powers does Kaneko have? Maybe I could do the same thing as Kaneko does for him. Unless it's some perverted shit. The man reached over to something next to the desk and pulled it in front of his very fast while shouting "princess cosplay" while cradling me like a baby. He held some sort of costume in his hands that I would rather not describe. "You don't have to be a devil to do that," I countered. "Ha, a little girl like her, cradling like a baby. No one but a devil could do that." The smug look on his face annoyed me. But then it dawned on me, she cradles him while wearing that ugly uniform. What has been imagined cannot be unimagined. He put the costume back to where it was and repeated the question as before, "What can you do?" "I can't do anything yet. I was resurrected as a devil yesterday, so I have yet to learn anything magical and stuff like that." I decided being honest was the best thing to go about this. Nothing I could do about not being able to do cool thing with magic. "Then tell me how you got resurrected." The demand was wired and unexpected, but what else could I do right now? "Well, you know, get killed by your girlfriend who is a fallen angel. Let a high-class devil find you by chance and resurrected for no apparent reason. Keep loving your girlfriend even if she killed you. You know the usual routine, trying to play it off as a usual way of turning into a devil." "Damn, you sure have it hard. Come on, talk to me." So I spent the night talking to Mr. Morisawa about what happened. I didn't mention any big names like Gremory. We talked about Yuma and how she feels and felt when she killed me. I still think she loves, just as much as I love her. But I'm a little scared that that might be just wishful thinking. Time went late, and it was time I go back to the ORC and tell Rias that I didn't get a contract because I forgot to ask the man. How stupid can I get? Well, at least the streets are empty, so no one can hear me mope. Just as I thought I was alone, I felt the presence, a holy one at that, from right behind me. I turned to look at what gave it off and saw a woman with huge ass and exposing a huge amount of cleavage. She had a scary expression on her face, and I don't want to deal with her. Or to be more precise, I don't want to almost die a second time. The blue-haired woman was walking towards me while saying, "It seems as though I don't have the wrong person. You are the same empty husk that was ordered to be killed. How strange." As soon as she said that, I knew that she knew Yuma. Otherwise she would not have known about the order, right? But either way, this doesn't look so good for me right now, because if she knows Yuma, then she is probably a fallen angel like her. "Why are you still alive? You were supposed to be dead," she yelled and showed of her fallen angel wings. She materialized a yellow spear of light and threw it straight at me. I quickly jumped to my left, narrowly avoiding being skewered for a second time. The Gremry crest, she shouted in shock. If you have that crest, that means I only have more reason to kill you now. The huge Ed woman flew into the air, preparing another light spear to throw at me. I can't die again. I need power to defend myself, power to beat her. Yeah, I will not die now. I will stand and fight like a man. Give me power, I shouted, and suddenly on the back of my right hand a green jewel started to glow, and a red kind of glove, no gauntlet, appeared on my hand. It has 2 yellow spikes on either side of the stone, and it covered my whole backhand. As I summoned my sacred gear, it seemed to have summoned some kind of powerful wind which blew away the enemy, and almost blew away her cloths. I cannot fight you now. I have to report this to the Great One. She yelled at me one last time and flew away to who knows where. Too bad I couldn't question her. I would have asked if she knew Yuma, or her whereabouts, or anything related to her whatsoever. Anyway, I decided to get back to the ORC and tell Rias of this. Maybe she can make something out of this. ORC. Yeah, that is a sacred gear. Once activated, it is controlled by the will of the user. I was showing this red gauntlet to the rest of the ORC. I concentrated on making it disappear, and to my surprise it worked. It vanished into thin air. Nice. And here I was wondering what would I do if it didn't go away, I said nervously while scratching the back of my head. Now, this encounter puts us in a bad position. Now the fallen know that you are resurrected as a devil. I don't think so. Maybe she knows Yuma and will tell her that she saw me, or that she failed her mission in killing that kid or whatever. She will hear that I'm alive and maybe that will help me in my search, I said, sounding as optimistic as possible. Well, from your viewpoint, sure. But as long as they don't target you again, I'll be happy. The sight escaping from her lips was a sign she meant what she said. After that little talk with President, I went home and thankfully no one tried to kill me again. I wonder, has it become some kind of sport to the fallen? It had been 3 nights in a row that I have been attacked, and only Yuma has been successful in killing me so far. I wonder if she won the competition. I made way to my room. I was trying to be very, very positive about the little fight with the fallen angel girl. I so hope she knows Yuma and tells her. As those hopes of mine lingered in my mind, I changed into my pajamas and went to sleep with a smile on my face and thoughts of Yuma in my mind. Next morning, the alarm woke me up like usual. This time it was of a girl threatening to tickle me to death. I bought that alarm 2 years ago, and it's still working with no problems whatsoever. The morning started like any other before I became a devil. Which meant no nightmares and no girls in my bed, which meant no misunderstandings with my parents. I ate the breakfast Mom makes for me every morning, and went to school without any questions from my dad or Mom. This whole devil thing seems like some kind of weird dream when nothing supernatural happens in the morning and everything is as it should be. As I was walking to school, I hear a girl scream out in pain somewhere to my right. I looked and saw the girl dressed in a nun uniform with her ass sticking up in the air as she fell. She sat on the floor rubbing her sore spot and mumbling, "Why do I always trip over something?" Being the gentleman that I am, I decided to help her out. "Are you okay?" I asked as I approached her, my hand already outstretched to help her get up. She took my hand and stood up. But just as she did so, a strong gust of wind blew the veil off her head, revealing her long blonde hair. And all I could think in that moment was how cute she was. There was a kind of awkward moment right then as she held my hand for a bit too long before she realized that she should let go. And just as she let go of my hand, another gust of wind blew, blowing her veil away. I ran after it and caught it before it could go away. "Thank you very much," the blonde thanked me once I returned the veil to her. "No problem." I turned to walk away and continue my walk to school, but something seems to have caught my shirt. "I'm sorry, but I seem to have lost my way. Could you help me?" she asked, a slight blush on her face make her look even cuter than before. I was debating whether I should help her or not. On one side I would be late for school, but on the other side I could hear Yumma's voice telling me I should always help a girl in need, so I decided on the obvious decision. A few moments after, the blonde picked up her bag and we started walking together in some random direction. I started with some small talk, wanting to know who I'm helping out. "So what is your name?" I started with an obvious question. "Oh, I'm Asia Argento, but you can call me Asia." Her tone was cheerful as she answered. "I'm Issei Hayadu, you can call me Issei." "Okay, Issei-kun. So are you on vacation?" I asked to keep the small talk going. "No, I'm not. I was transferred to this town's church." "Huh, so she is a nun then, I guess. That means she is my enemy. but she just seems so innocent to be of any kind of harm to any living being. Oh, so you're a nun? That explains the clothing. I voiced half of my thoughts. Thankfully, I met a young man as nice and kind as you. Her words made me blush. I just nice because Yuma taught me how to be. If it weren't for her, I would still be a perverted bastard. As we were walking, a crying boy was heard next to us in a park. The boy seems to have fallen and injured his knee. It was covered in blood. Asia ran to the boy as soon as we hear him. She leaned in close to the boy's injury, and some green glow and rings appeared at her hands. The green glow brightened and the injury started to close. As Asia was healing the boy, a strong kind of pulse ran through my right hand. The blood vanished and the skin was appearing out of nowhere. A few seconds later, and the wound was completely healed. The boys stopped crying and looked at Asia with awe. There, the wound is all healed up now. And remember, big boys don't cry, she told the boy, and joined me once more on our walk to the church. My right hand reacted when she healed the boy. Maybe she has some special powers, or maybe she too has a sacred gear. I wonder. I must have surprised you. She started out of nowhere. No, you sure have some amazing powers there. They are, because God bestowed them upon me. The cheerful tone in her voice never wavered, like she is always in a good mood. We walked on in this kind of silence. It was kind of weird if you asked me. There is the place. Asia pointed at the church that was now visible because it's on a hill. Thank you, Issei-kun, for your help. Would you like to accompany me there? She asked. To be honest, I wanted to, but it gave off such a strong holy aura that it made me nervous, even from this far away. That, and I still have school to attend. Sorry, but I have to go to school as soon as I said that. She looked kind of disappointed. Well, if you ever have time, please come and visit me at the church. Promise, okay? Yeah, sure. See you later. I waved goodbye to Asia as I was leaving to school. The road back was rather uneventful, which in my case means it could not have been better. After classes, ORC. Never go near a church again. I was being scolded by Rias again. The two of us were alone in the clubroom. She was lecturing me and I was just standing, listening. To us devils, the church is considered enemy territory, she continued. Maybe that's what I felt earlier, I said, remembering the feeling of going relatively close to a church. That must have been your devil instincts kicking in, telling you that it's dangerous. I just kept silent. It's like that moment when the teacher lectures about something that you did bad but you can't do shit about it. When a devil is near a church, the problem of devils and angels becomes much bigger, and you never know when the spears of light will come down on you. There was a moment of silence, and I thought about what she said. Maybe I should be a bit more careful, and how maybe I should be a bit more selfish and greedy from now on. I am a devil now, after all. The church's exorcists are also able to have sacred gears, and when someone exorcises you, you feel nothing, you see nothing, you are nothing. You wouldn't exist anymore, not even a body would exist. Damn, I don't want to become nothing. I still want to live and stuff like that. I should take this stuff more seriously from now on. Anyway, just be more careful from now on, please. Yeah, sure. With that, Rias left, going off to God knows wheouch. I hate being a devil sometimes. I sat down on the couch, thinking about everything that Rias just said. I shouldn't help random nuns, but it's my nature to be nice to people now. Most of my perverted self is gone now, and thanks to that I don't get beat up by the kendo club on a daily basis. They don't even bother me anymore. I can even have normal conversations with Kates and Murayama now, which is a nice change from the hard kendo swords. Matsuda and Motohama, on the other hand, continue on their way and are hated more every day. I wonder if I should help them with that. Well, anyway, it seems like I'll be staying away from the church. Hopefully Asia won't mind me not visiting. You know that Buchu is only concerned about you. I looked at who spoke after they scared the shit out of me. Akino-san, damn, that girl can be silent, like a ninja, I tell you. The doors to the room opened, and in came Rias once more. Akino, I thought you had already gone home, asked the redhead. We just received word from Taiko. Apparently a stray devil has been found this city. Scene change. Well, fuck me. Apparently if I use a magic circle together with any other member of the peerage I can use it normally. But if I'm alone, then no. I suck at magic. Anyway, we are here, near the entrance of an old abandoned storehouse. Such cliché. The reason why we are here is because some stray devil was found. Whatever a stray is, it sounds dangerous if the whole peerage has to go to get rid of it. Strays were once slaves, like us, but they decided to betray their master and live as they please, Kiba explained. Who knew that he could be good for something else other than making all the girls in school swoon over him? Okay, so we received information that this stray devil has been luring man and eating them. It is our job to get rid of it. Rias explained why we are here, but one bit of that information unnerved me. What do you mean by eat? I asked, but my question went unnoticed by everyone. We entered the building. It is dark inside, but thanks to being a devil I could see pretty much everything fine. The storehouse is rather empty, some scattered picture frames, chairs, shelves, but nothing much other than that. Without a master, the stray can use its demonic powers without restraint, so be careful, Kiba warns me. Issei, what do you know of chess? The sudden question confused me since I have no idea what chess has to do with anything right now. Like Chinese chess or European? I asked to make sure no misunderstandings were made. European. Not much, other than the pieces and the way they move. What was she trying to get at right now? We have a stray nearby and I'm a noob when it come to something like this. She should make sure I learn some moves to fight with. As the master, I'm the king. You already know the other pieces, the queen, 2 knights, 2 rooks, 2 bishops, and the 8 pawns. Well, yeah, wait a minute, does that mean we are like chess pieces? Are just that to the higher ranking devils, figurines? I'm starting to dislike the Devil Society more and more. A high-ranking devil can give special powers to her/his various pieces. Special powers? I asked. This is starting to feel like a video game. It's like you are building your own fighters and letting them fight for you, kinda like Pokemon. We call this technique the evil pieces. And why is that? I asked. Anyway, tonight, take a close look at how devils fight. My question was completely ignored once more. If they continue like this, I might just turn into a stray. I smell something sour. But I also smell something delicious. Are you sweet or are you bitter? The voice was female, but it sounded twisted, as if she was being possessed by some kind of evil spirit or something. And then she came out from behind a wall. The first thing I saw is her head. She has a pretty face, no doubt, shoulder-length black hair, and she is completely necked. Her S for the whole storehouse to see. The upper half was fairly normal, but it's the other half that is disgusting. Her lower half was like one of another humanoid. Her upper normal body was acting like the head of another body. It had huge claws for hands and like its legs are very fury, and where the abs would be are some kind of lines. I don't know how to describe it, but it was definitely not a six-pack. For some reason she kept fondling her own tits. Stray devil Vice, you have betrayed your master and let your powers run rampant. You will now face judgment for your crimes. In the name of the Gremry nobility I will destroy you. Well, Rias gave a totally cliché speech of defeating crime. What a little bitch you are. I will color you all red just like your hair, the demon said in protest. She laughed and fondled her S even more. As she did so I could see some small red circle around her S. The circles grew bigger and started spinning around her now hardened S. I feel so ashamed for writing this T to the power of T. R from her S shows some kind of yellow thing. I knew it wasn't milk for sure. Rias turned to me and made me take cover from the liquid, the other already doing the same. Once it passed over our head it hit the wall and started dissolving it. Okay, she is a monster, I said in disbelief as I just saw a solid concrete wall melt in front of my eyes. You can't let your guard down, Rias warns me. Yudo, she called out to the blonde. Kiba held his sword and made a running position and just disappeared. Where the hell did he go? He's gone, I voiced my thoughts. No, he is just too fast for you to see him. Yudo's position is knight, which means he specializes in speed and his weapon of choice is a sword. As Senpai was explaining this to me I saw Kiba appear in front of the stray devil Vice, and with 2 swift strikes he cut her huge arms off. As Vice was shouting in pain, Kaneko decided to just plainly walk in front of the monster of a devil. I wonder if she has lost her mind. She is small, the stray could literally just stomp on her and be done with her. But that didn't seem to bother the white-haired girl. I shouted out to her to be careful. Vice's face morphed, making her teeth longer and pointer, and just plain ugly now. The lines on her stomach now moved and opened. The fuck are those teeth on her stomach? Kaneko still didn't move even after seeing this. She that girl crazy. Kaneko, move, I shouted out in worry, not wanting to see one of my new friends eaten alive. But despite my warning, Kaneko did not move and let herself be taken into the mouth of the beast. Don't worry, Kaneko is a rook. Her specialty is very simple, she can defend against any attack and her attacks are stronger than Kiba's. Rias tries to reassure me. I could see the mouth opening, but not by the will of vice, those lips were forced open. Kaneko is standing there keeping the mouth open. Her clothes were torn on some places and she was covered in spit. See, she is not even flinching. Damn, that is scary. For a lowly like her to be able to do something like that. Kaneko punched the stray devil and sent it flying towards a pillar, breaking it. Thankfully the ceiling didn't come down on us once the pillar broke. Akino, your turn, Rias shouted. Akino stepped forwards while saying, oh my, oh my. What should I do, I wonder? Out of the corner of my eye, I saw one of the arms that Kiba had sliced off twitch. My arm moved and jumped in the direction of Rias. I activated my sacred gear and punched it just before it managed to hit my master. Rias fell on her, but out of surprise, she didn't expect me to come out of nowhere and hit something that was about to attack her. Thanks you, she has a face of pure surprise. I held out my hand and helped her up. Akino, finish her off, Rias commanded. Those who try to put their hands on my president without permission will be punished. Her face became a lot more scarier, and between her hands started lighting to spark. To hell, I should stop being surprised by all of this. I should expect for people to have some kind of superpower or something along those lines. Akino is my queen, my invincible vice president of the ORC, with powers unmatched by the other pieces. Her specialty is magic attacks. So you are still alive, then how about this? Akino shouted. She summoned lighting out of nowhere, and used it to shock the stray devil. And on top of that she is a supreme sadist, Rias finished, a sweat drop on her face. Akino, on the other hand, now has a bright red blush on her face. Oh my, you are still alive. I wonder how much more of this you can take. She licked her lips and continued to shock it with lightning. That will do, Akino. Akino stopped her attacks. She turned around and combed her own cheek already over. What a pity. Note to self, never, ever piss of Akino, she will torture you. The stray devil, on the other hand, looked quite crisp after her shocking experience, her hair smoking, her cut-off arms bleeding like a waterfall, broken parts of her teeth everywhere you look. This certainly looked like a murder scene. Rias walked forward, facing the devil who was on the ground barely breathing. Do you have any last words? Rias asked. Vice was somehow able to turn her head to look at the redhead, and uttering the two simple words, you bitch. Doesn't matter. It's your time to be extinguished. A red magic circle forms in front of Rias. It was as big as her. Checkmate. Out of the circle came some kind of energy. It was black with a kind of red aura. It shot out, completely covering the stray that was taken care of. As the black energy disappeared, so did Vice. There was no trace of her, like she vanished into thin air. Okay, so this is over now. Time to go home, guys. Yes, Prez, we all answered in unison. Wait, Rias-senpai, what piece am I? You never told me. I was curious to know, was I as fast as Kiba, or as strong as Kaneko? A pawn, eh? What now? A pawn, I am a pawn. The pawn is the one up front, and there is 8 of them, so you can sacrifice some for the greater good. Great, I'm a throwaway piece. No one spoke after my question was answered, as if it was the most obvious thing ever. I mean, really, what other piece could I be? I have no special powers like Akino or Kaneko or Kiba. I didn't ask anything after that because there was nothing left to ask. Everyone has gone home with a smile on their face after having successfully completed a mission. Everyone but me. Here I am, talking the bicycle to a person's house who is summoning devils for the very first time. So Rias thought that this would be a good chance for me to make my first contract with. I couldn't argue with her plan that much. I came up to the client's house. It is a nice-looking house, painted white, has an upper floor and a front garden. This person must be rich. I wonder why they need a devil's contract then. I rang the doorbell, but after a few moments of waiting I got no response whatsoever, so I tried knocking on the door. As I knocked, the door pushed open. It was unlocked the whole time, which is wired. I should be careful. I leaned in the doorway, looking a bit before I entered the house. The hallway was dark, and no lights were on. Hello, I shouted, I'm the devil summoned here. Is anyone home? Stepping inside, I felt danger, like the time I was close to that church with that nun. Rias told me to bring a signed contract to her this time, so I can't chicken out just because I feel a little bit paranoid. As I turned the corner in the hallway, I saw some dim light coming from what I assume is the living room. The door was almost completely shut, making me unable to see what was waiting for me inside that room. The more I came closer to that room, the more ominous and dangerous it felt, like I was walking to my own death sentence or something. I opened the door. It squeaked like it usually does in horror movies and games. The light from the room was a couple of candles lit on the table where two couches were placed, facing each other. A man was sitting on one of them, his back facing me. Steeping inside the room, I felt something warm stick to my foot. I touched it to inspect what it could have possibly been. But once I brought my hand to my face, I saw that it had been blood that I had stepped in. Looking deeper in the dark room, I saw a trail of blood. It was still fresh, and you could still smell its freshness. The blood trail led to a body that was cut in pieces. The scene was gory and bloody all over. It made me want to puke my lunch and breakfast. The man who I have assumed was the person summoning a devil stared to talk sinners must be punished. I tried borrowing the words from the Bible. Once he finished his sentence, he turned his head and reviled an insane grin. The man stood up. He is wearing a black coat with a white shirt under it, and white pants. Hello there, shitty devil. Well, at least it was some of greeting. I am Fried Siros, and I am here to exorcise devils such as yourself. He started dancing as if he just got the jackpot or something. Makes him look crazy. Are you a priest? I asked. He was way too wired to be a priest in my opinion. Well, I'm certainly not a devil. There was a glint in his eye as he said that. An evil glint. I don't like this. I took a step back, and took on a lower stance so I could defend myself a bit quicker if this priest tries to do anything. Why did you kill him? I asked, pointing at the corpse in the corner of the room. May he rest in pieces. Well, I had proof he was going to summon a devil. So I killed him after he finished his summoning so that I could make this world a better place. By making the devil population drop by 1, he emphasized that last part, making a shiver go down my back. Fried pulled out a gun in his left hand and a handle in his right hand. What is he going to do with just a handle? Out of the handle sprung white light, like a lightsaber from Star Wars. If that thing is like a spear of light, then I'm fucked. I'm going to cut you to pieces just like that dipshit over there. Fried pointed at the man he had chopped up earlier. As soon as he moved, I summoned my sacred gear and blocked his sword swing with the back of my hand. Fried moved his left hand where he held the gun and shot me in the knee on my right leg. I fell down to the ground. Did you like that, Devil Kun? Those are special light bullets I made just for you. I hope you like the taste of them. Man, this guy's is all kinds of crazy. There is adrenaline pumping in my veins, lessening the pain. But the gunshot stung like 1,000 bees stung me at the same time, at the same place. Ignoring the sting and the pain, I kicked the legs from under Fried with my left leg, making him fall next to me. While he was disoriented, I got up, and limped on my still good leg and walked to the closest wall. Don't tell me you already gave up, Devil Kun, Fried said as he got up and dusted himself, only to find himself covered in the blood of the man he already killed. You will pay my laundry bill, you shitty bastard, he screamed. Fried raised his left hand and aimed at me. He shot. I felt the same pain and sting from before, only this time in my left arm, right above the elbow. I fell to the floor once more, the pain pounding in my head and ragged breaths of air entering my lungs. The edges of my vision were blurry, but I could see Asia entering the room from a different door, her mouth wide open in what I assume is a scream of fear and terror. She screamed when she saw the dead body of the person who lived here, all chopped up. Oh, Asia-chan, have you set up the barrier yet? The crazy priest asked. What happened here? Asia held her hand to her mouth. I guess she couldn't believe what is going on here. And I can't blame her, because either can I. Ah yes, you are still a beginner. You see, this is what we do. We kill those have gone astray and have summoned devils, such as that piece of shit over there. Hey, who you calling a piece of shit, stupid priest? Asia looked at me and couldn't believe her eyes. It was me, the same person who helped her when she couldn't find her way around town. Issei, you're a devil. Why is she here? She is way too innocent for these kinds of things. Yes, I'm a devil. I coughed up some blood. Those bullets really hurt. I'm sorry I hid it from you. Oh, you two know each other. Oh, what drama is here? Well, guess what, Asia-chan, since you are a beginner and will have to get used to this, why don't you make here your first kill? Say what now? As I was sitting against the wall, I could barely see him walk due to bloodless. He gave his gun to her. Asia could barely hold. Her hands were shaking like crazy and tears were starting to form at the edges of her eyes. Come on, shoot. After all, you don't want his going about killing believers of the church and spreading lies everywhere now, do you? He was encouraging her, trying to make her pull the trigger. But it looked like it didn't work. No! This man is nice and good-hearted and the only one who helped me in my time of need. This man doesn't deserve a punishment such as death. Wow, those are some of the nicest things someone has ever said about me. Asia threw the gun away into another corner of the room. She stepped forward, maybe to help me, but Fried stopped her. Listen here, bitch, you don't decide what we do with devils here. I do, and if you don't kill him, I will rape you first and deal with him later. The words he said didn't match his actions, since he didn't even give Asia a second chance to kill me. Fried stepped back and swung his sword of light at her. He didn't cut, but he did cut her nun cloths right off her, bra included, right down the middle. He grabbed a hold of her chin and brought her close to himself. The sight disgusted me, a priest trying to rape a fellow sister. From what I'm seeing, even the devil's slaves were being treated better than this. I will be careful not to hurt you, but disobeying a direct order must lead to punishment. His voice was full of lust, as if he was an animal in heat. Fried pinned her to the wall on his right and started to lick and at her collarbone. Asia obviously didn't like it, and the look of fear and terror screamed, "Someone please come save me." I would save, but I can't move with these bullets in my limbs. I'm sorry, Asia. Asia's hands got pinned above her head with the sword of light piercing her sleeves and keeping her in place, making both his hands free and able to do whatever he wanted. And he used his free hands to grope her ass like an animal. I could not watch how Fried was going to rape her. It was my fault after all. Had I not accepted that stupid call for a devil, none of this would have happened. I closed my eyes, as I did not have the heart to watch on. I would rather die than have to watch this. Stop, I shouted with what little energy I have left. I know I can't stop this guy now, not alone. But if there is anything I can do to buy Asia some time to run, then it will be worth it. And what are you going to do about it, you little shit? Oh look, you can't even open your eyes to look at me. Are you that afraid of me? I couldn't stand this Fried guy. I hope some help is on the way. And just a moment after he finished his sentence, I could see a bright red glow landing on my eyelids from somewhere in the room. I heard a sword clash against another sword. Finally deciding to open my eyes again, I see Kiba in a deadlock with Fried. The red glow is a magic circle, out of which also came Kaneko and Akino and Rias too. I would prefer if you would not harm my peerage member. I could hear Rias talk. Her back was turned to me. She was facing Fried, probably to make sure no attacks came from that direction. Oh, is that so? That only make me want to slice him up even more, Fried yelled. He went under Kiba's sword and ran straight at me with every bit of intention to kill me. But before he got close enough to do so, Kaneko grabbed Fried's sleeve and spun him around and sent him flying the way he came from, making him crash onto the couch opposite the one he was sitting on earlier. Okay, you handle him. I will just take a short nap, I said weakly, and started to close my eyes. I feel really tired, a little shut. I never killed anyone. Oh no, you don't. I felt hands shaking me. I saw Yuma standing in front of me, shaking me awake, trying to tell me something. What is it, Yuma? My head fell onto my left shoulder. I could barely keep my eyes open anymore. Oh shit, Issei is hallucinating. I must heal him quickly. Kaneko, Akino, Kiba, keep the exorcist occupied until I make another magic circle to get Issei out of here, Yuma shouted. And after that everything went dark. Normal POV. The three mentioned nodded their heads in unison and went into action. Kiba and Kaneko charged at Fried. They didn't aim for any vitals or similar things. Their main priority is saving Issei, so they made as big and as flashier moves as possible, so they would take Fried's attention away from Issei. Akino, on the other hand, had it a bit more difficult. It was a small space with her friends in front of the enemy, so it would be hard to hit him, but she would try nonetheless. Asia had fallen onto the cold floor, not able to move much after she just got molested. The three of them clashed in the back of the room, leaving Akino no opening to shoot her lighting at the enemy. Instead, she walked over to Issei, analyzing his injuries. One bullet near the elbow on his left hand and one is in his knee on his right leg. Both bullets are enchanted with holy magic. No wonder Issei started hallucinating and passed out. He is a new devil after all. As Akino finished looking into her Koi's injuries, Rias finished with the magic circle. But another circle appeared as well. This one was blue in color with designs of clouds. Instead of symbols like the devil's, this one was of fallen angel origin. See that, you shithead devils. Backup is coming and there is nothing you can do about it, yelled the exorcist. While Fried was busy screaming, the devil quickly retreated and went into the circle. Kaneko was carrying Issei due to her massive strength. And just like that, Fried was left alone in the house waiting for his backup that he no longer needed, with a nun that he could no longer rape due to the fallen angels coming. The next day, at the church, normal POV. Rainier had shut herself into her room ever since the day she killed Issei, her boyfriend. She refused to exit the room and only got of her bed when she had to go to the bathroom, and when she went to take her food. She was angry and sad, angry at herself for doing it, and sad because she killed such a good man. He changed for her, into a better man, from the most hated person in his neighborhood to a true gentleman. He did it all for her, just so she would be more happy with the man she chose, and she destroyed it all with one quick move. And the worst part, he didn't even hate her for it. No matter what, he loved her for who she is. Calla Warner walked into her room, bringing breakfast with her. "Hey Rainier, Asia went missing. Did you by any chance see her?" asked the buxom brunette. Rainier only shook her head and accepted the plate of food that Calla Warner offered her. "You have been here for days. Why don't you go outside? Maybe you should search for the nun while we prepare for the ritual," Calla Warner commanded, even thought she knows she doesn't have any real say in the matters. When Rainier heard of the ritual, she changed from depressed to angry. She knew her father never would have allowed such a thing, yet the order was given. She would not follow false orders. "You know that ritual is forbidden, so we aren't doing it," she said to her comrade. "Orders are orders and you know it. And just because you think they aren't from your beloved daddy, doesn't mean they aren't," Calla Warner countered. Rainier knew she couldn't prove it, but she knew she was right. Her dad would never give such orders and she will stick by that decision. "Fine, whatever. After breakfast I'll go look for the Argento girl." Rainier never truly trusted the other fallen here. They never think for themselves and follow any order that is given to them, even if it is not from their direct superiors. Yet they were tricky. They would do anything to fulfill the order given, even if it meant betraying one another. All in all, Rainier had a bad feeling about this. The magical portal opened right in the middle of the ORC. Kaneko placed Issei on one of the couches while ripping of the sleeve on his injured arm and leg. Kiba went and got a medical scalpel and some tweezers to get the bullets out of Issei's limbs. He has some experience in this due to some of his swords breaking while he was still learning how to make good swords with his sacred gear. Rias was frantically taking off her clothes in order to heal Issei as soon as Kiba removes the bullets from his limbs. Akino was by Kiba's side acting out as his assistant for whatever he may need while getting out the bullets. Kiba was nervous. He has yet to remove holy bullets out of someone. He is used to getting out shards of broken swords and the like, but nothing of this level where it was a life or death situation. "Okay, stay calm. You can do this." Akino's words of courage had a little bit of effect of Kiba. It gave him confidence in his skill, making his hands stop shaking and making him focus at the task at hand. Kiba decided to start with Issei's arm, making sure to not cut any veins and muscles, and cutting any flesh that was in his way that Rias can heal later on. As he did so, he saw the bullet next to the bone, where it made a small crack line on it. Going in with the tweezers, Kiba plucked the bullets out of the pawn's arm, Akino making sure that Issei doesn't lose too much blood from the open wound and bathing the wound in her demonic energy, trying to soothe the effects of the holy element in his body. Letting out a huge sigh, Kiba moves on to the next bullet, which was in his knee. The knee is a more difficult operation compared to the arm. The kneecap was shattered, the shattered bones around the flesh, making it harder to see where bullet actual was. Taking a deep breath of air, Kiba calmed himself and started to work, trying to touch the bone as little as he can, moves the shattered bone pieces out of Issei's leg. Issei started to sweat up a storm. His face was almost flooding from all the sweat. The couch that he was lying on was soaking wet and leaving a bit of blood from his wound. Since Akino was lessening the effect of the holy energy in Issei, Kaneko decided to wipe off his face and put a wet towel on his forehead, helping out as much as she currently can. As Kiba kept doing his thing, Issei, even if unconscious, was squirming from all the pain he felt in his leg. Kaneko used her rook strength to hold him down and keep him from moving around. Once Kiba got the final bullet out, he stepped aside, letting Kaneko carry him over to the showers where Rias was waiting patiently to heal Issei and clean his wounds while she was at it. Kiba, on the other hand, collapsed on one of the couches, having been under so much pressure and having to focus so much strained a lot out of him. Issei house next day. Normal POV. Issei woke up from the light of the morning sun shining in his face, making him wake up. He found himself in his bed, 15 minutes before his alarm rang. He grudgingly got out of bed, looked around his room before realization dawned on him. Yesterday he was shot 2 times. He frantically looked over his pajama-clad body. Issei found no wounds in his arm or his leg. Letting out a sigh of relief, he sat back down on his bed, until a thought popped into his head. If there are no wounds, then someone must have healed him, and he only know of Rias being able to heal. As soon as Issei realized that, he looked around for any signs of the red-headed beauty but found none. Due to it being a Saturday, there was no school to prepare for this morning, but nonetheless Issei got dressed, not in his usual school uniform but in some more trainers and a normal red shirt. In that moment he vowed to himself that he would be able to stand and fight the battles that he needs to win, to protect the defenseless and the weak. But with the current strength he has right now, he just can't do that. So he decided to go out and train. Issei went to a nearby park. It was the usual, with places for kids to play, a sandbox, some swings and monkey bars. He started out with some basic stretching. Issei wasn't anything special when it came to physical strength. He can keep up with most guys, but when put against this new supernatural world, Issei will need to train a lot. After the stretching, Issei wasted no time and jumped straight onto the monkey bars to do some pull-ups. After a good hour of working out, he decided to take a break to catch his breath and rest a bit. As he sits down on the swing set, a voice calls out to him. Issei looked up, and to his surprise it was Asia. Mhahaha, almost had you guys there right. Right, T to the power of T. She stared at him with shock apparent in her face. Issei, on the other hand, was surprised. He didn't think she could run away from the church, especially if that freed guy was chasing her. Issei POV. I took Asia to a nearby diner to talk with her about what happened the night before. I ordered us some burgers, fries and colas. We sat there in silence, waiting for the food to arrive before we start talking about yesterday's events. Once the food arrived, Asia just stared at it with a confused look on her face. Does she not know how to unwrap the burger? Or is she feeling guilty that I'm paying for all of this? What, you don't know how to eat it? Here, let me show you. I unwrapped my burger and took a huge bite out of it. Asia looked at me wide-eyed. I didn't know you could eat like that. She took her own burger and did the same as me, but took a smaller bite. So delicious, she looked acutely kind of cute. Anyway, what were you doing at the park? I asked. Well, you know, I had a break and so I decided to walk around town for a bit, get to know the place and all, and then I saw you. Damn it, I'm going to feel like the biggest douchebag after this, but if she knows something about the fallen angels, then I have to get that info out of her. If that requires a date or something of that sort, then so be it. Fuck me and my selfishness. Asia, let's go and have lots of fun, okay? Yeah, okay, she agreed easily. And once we finished our food, we left to have some fun. We went out on a similar kind of date that I went on with Yuma last time, but there was just something missing. We did similar things. We went to the arcade, did some window shopping and stuff like that. We laughed, we joked and generally had a good time. I even won her a plush toy at the arcade. She looked so happy when I gave her that T-Rex. I just couldn't help but think how cute she looked. And guys, please don't misunderstand me. She is cute, but in the way you would say a cat is cute, because obviously Yuma is the only one for me. Eventually we ended up in a park with a fountain in the middle. We sat on some benches in front of it. Are you still hurt from yesterday? Asia asked all of a sudden, lacking all sense of tact. No, my master healed me and got the bullets out of my limbs, so I'm okay right now. Best answer truthfully. No sense in making things up. You know, I was abandoned by my mother when I was born. She left me in a basket outside of the church's door, and it was there where I was raised. Tragic backstory time. One day when I was 8, an injured dog wandered into the church. I prayed with all my might and then a miracle happened. I was brought to a bigger church and people from all over the country came to be healed by my prayers, and I was happy that I could help people with my powers. Okay, so she was like any other puppet, used by her superiors for their own gain. They told people that Asia could heal them, and probably in turn they would have to convert to Christianity, or something of the like. Anyway, better keep listening to her. But one day, I met an injured boy, but unfortunately he was someone I shouldn't have healed. They said anyone who used divine healing powers on a devil was a heretic. So that's how you lost your home and became a fallen angel. I didn't finish. I couldn't bring myself to do so. But even so, I never forgot the joy of praying and how truly grateful to God I was and still am. I can accept that there are people out there who wish to do evil, because even that is surely God's will. Damn, just who strong is her faith in the church and in God. Surely even God is not blind enough to not see her faith and her devotion to Him, and yet she is discarded like an old glove. If I overcome this obstacle, God will someday make my dreams come true, that is what I believe. Your dream? I asked, signaling her to go forward with her story. To make lots of friends and to plant flowers with them, buy books, talk all night, that is my dream because I have no friends. I turned to her, looking in her green eyes as she did the same, although she had a slight confused expression on her face while mine was solid with determination. Asia, I will be your bride, or should I better say I already am. We have already spent time together and had lots of fun, right? So don't I count as a friend? It's nice to see her a bit happier than what she was just a few moments ago, but I still haven't found out anything useful about the Fallen here. Asia, just tell me one thing, do the Fallen treat you as bad as that priest did? I asked. Well, no, but there is one that has actually been nice to me. And what is that person's name? I desperately asked, in need of answers. Rainier. Damn it, no connection whatsoever. And here I was thinking that maybe she was still in town. As I looked at Asia, I saw her eyes widen in shock, as if she didn't believe what she heard or saw right now. That's Rainier, she mumbled and pointed at a girl behind me. I turned to look at her, and just as I saw her, my heart stopped. There she was, the girl of my dreams, walking in the park just 30 meters away, the girl I have been searching for so close. She was even wearing the uniform of the school when we first met. I couldn't resist and stared, running towards her, yelling her name as I ran. When she heard, she stopped dead in her tracks, moving her head to look where the noise came from. Yumma, I yelled once more. Then she saw me. I swear I saw her eyes start to tear up and her lips moving, mouthing my name. I finally caught up to her, embracing her in a tight hug, never wanting to let go again. Just as I hugged her, I could feel her arms wrap around me. She was hugging me back. And I will admit I shed tears as I held on to her, as if she was my last lifeline. I'm so sorry, Issei. I never wanted to do that. She started apologizing. I could hear the sadness in her voice. Don't be. You didn't do anything wrong and it's not your fault. I could never hate you. She started crying even more. She said no words but just tightened the hug. I broke the hug, wanting to look at her, face to face. Come on. Pretty girls shouldn't cry. I wiped away the tears from her face with my thumbs, not wanting to see her tear-stricken face. She smiled as I that, and I couldn't help but lean in her. Her soft lips tasted like cherry, and she returned the, making me feel even more happy. As we broke out long overdue, we hugged once more. I missed you so much, Yuma. I miss you too, Issei. And in that moment of complete happiness, in the arm of Yuma, a scream was heard. We released each other from our hug to look at the person who screamed. It was Asia who screamed because she was being kidnapped. And it was by that fedora-wearing guy who almost killed me. I ran towards them, trying anything to get to them before he could do anything harmful to Asia. But just as I was halfway there, he took to the air using his wings. I tried to run after him, but I was stopped when Yuma grabbed my arm. It's pointless to chase after him. He is the fastest flyer in our group. But I know where he is taking her, and what for, so if we want to save her we will need some help. Yuma explained. Even though she stopped me now, at least I know she is still willing to help me. And right now that is all the support I need. I know just the people to ask. And with that I made a call to Rias, asking her to meet me at the ORC with the rest of the peerage members. Yuma and I silently walked to my school. We held our hands all the way to the ORC clubroom. Yuma explained what would happen to Asia if we didn't hurry to save her, and it only gave me more reason to go faster. Wow, I can sense a lot of demonic energy in that room, Yuma said as we were standing in front of the ORC door. Come on, they won't hurt you, I promise, I tried to reassure her. I pushed the door open, holding Yuma's hand as she walked in behind me. I saw Rias, leaning against her desk looking at her nails. Kaneko was sitting on a sofa eating her usual sweets, and Akino was pouring tea into Kiba's cup as he took it. They all tensed up as they sensed a fallen angel enter the room with me. All their heads turned to me and saw Yuma hiding behind me. Is that her? Rias asked, knowing that I have a girlfriend. Yeah, but there is a nun being held captive and I want to rescue her. The determination in my voice was high. And why is that? Rias asked once more. Everybody else was looking weird at me, like I'm crazy for wanting to save someone from the enemy's side. Because she is a good person, and she will have her sacred gear removed from her if we don't do something by midnight. Stepping forward from behind me, Yuma answered my king's question. Once this was mentioned, Kaneko stopped eating her sweets. Kiba had a slight look of anger on his face. Rias sharpened her gaze as if to penetrate my skull and looked straight into my brain for the information that I was giving her. Akino, on the other hand, looked the same, but her smile vanished from her face. Now that Yuma was able to be seen clearly, everybody looked at her. Rias was not surprised at all when she saw her in person. Kiba smiled at her. Kaneko had nodded at her, the same way she did when she was introduced to me, and Akino was, well, I can't really tell, but something was up. Can you be a bit more specific as to why I should save this nun? Rias asked, direction the question at Yuma. Do it for Issei, or at the very least, for her sacred gear, the twilight healing, Yuma answered. As soon as the name of the sacred gear was mentioned, Rias visibly stiffened. Wait, was that the thing she used to heal that boy? Very well then, let's move and see if we can save this nun. Rias stood up straight and moved to sit at her desk. Everybody gather here, the redhead yelled. Everybody went to stand by her and look at some papers. We were making a battle plan. A map of the church was laid down on the desk for everybody to see. I don't remember the whole plan, but what I do remember is the important parts. I go in with Kaneko through the front door. Kiba will be behind us as backup. As for the other girls, all I know is that Yuma will be staying with Rias and Akino for this plan. I can't recall what exactly they will be doing. Fast forward a few hours until the beginning of the plan. Around 11 p.m., Issei POV, Kaneko and I entered the church, although Kaneko had to bust down the door for some reason which I did not understand at all. Kiba was waiting a little bit away from the church, having been given orders to come in around 10 minutes after us. The inside was rather dark. The only light was coming from the moon that shone through the windows. The rows of pews tossed about with little concern. Our footsteps made the wooden floor creak, which gave me the chills and made my hair stand on end. As we kept walking, we made it to the end of the church, and found nothing there, until we heard a voice speak up. Well, if it isn't the same devil I almost killed a day ago. You know I was proud of myself for never fighting the same devil twice, and now you broke that, and I will make you pay for it. As soon as we hear Fried, we turn to the direction of his voice. He was leaning against the wall right under a window until he walked slowly towards us, only to stop 5 meters away, around 16.5 feet. If you're looking for the whore of a nun, she is downstairs. The stairs are hidden under that cabinet over there. He pointed at the wall to his left where, indeed, a cabinet stood in all its rotten wooden glory. But you are not getting anywhere near her because I am here to stop you, Fried said, and pulled out a handle and a gun. The white energy forming a blade from the handle, just like last time. I readied myself, the red gauntlet appearing on my right hand as I took a defensive stance. I know I can't beat this nut job, but maybe Kaneko can, or Kiba. We stared at the exorcist and he stared back, our eyes unblinking from one another. Both of us were waiting for the other to make the first move. We stood like that for good 3 minutes until Kaneko broke the deadly silence. What are you two doing? She asked, her voice void of any emotion as usual. We are staring into each other's eyes with nothing but passion and love, waiting for the other to gather his courage to come, and the other with so much love that both of us will explode into million pieces with rainbows everywhere. Kaneko and I looked at him in a weird way now, like what the fuck did he just say? What, can't a guy be sarcastic? Fried asked. I facepalmed. I wanted to lose all hope in humanity right then and there, but I had to try something before that. No, dude, come here and let me teach you some life lessons, I said as I walked up to him, putting my arm his neck in the way that brothers do. Listen, this is supposed to be a battle to the death kind of thing, okay? So you can't be sarcastic that much. A little joke, sure, but not all that bullshit you just said, okay? Oddly enough, he didn't try to kill me once during this little lesson I just gave him. He only nodded to himself, as if he was understanding what I just told him. So I went back to my previous position and continued to stare down with Fried. After 5 seconds I saw a pew flying right at him, but Fried had fast reactions and cut it in two. Hey, don't interrupt such intense moments, I jokingly yelled at Kaneko, who, as always, had an emotionless face on. She didn't reply and just threw another pew at our enemy. And Fried this time didn't react fast enough and got hit right in this, knocking him to the floor. Nice one. Okay, let's go and save Asia, I said as I started to walk towards the hidden stairs. You aren't going anywhere, yelled Fried as he shot from his gun that missed me by hair's length once he somehow got out from under the pews. We stared at one another again, but our little contest was broken when a new pair of footsteps could be heard from inside the church. You two go and save the nun. I want to test my skill against this guy. Fried looked at Kiba, who just entered, and frowned. Fuck this shit. I have better things to do. And as he said that, he threw something into the ground that made a blast of light, making us all turn our heads away. Once the light faded, Fried was nowhere to be seen. The three of us shrugged at his disappearance, since this meant one less enemy for us to deal with, and so Kiba came with us to the stairs. Kaneko pushed the cabinet aside and the three of us rushed down the stairs. The stair went down so far that I can't even start to imagine how deep we are right now, but as we got to the end there was a large wooden double door, with a medieval century kind of feel to it. Kaneko pushed the door open to reveal a huge room beyond it. At the center was a stairway that led to a cross where Asia was hanging from. Next to her was that fedora-wearing guy who tried to kill me, and around the stairway was a lot of hooded priests who turned as soon as they heard the door opening, and every single one of them was pulling out their light swords. Asia, I screamed, looking upon her body which was in rags, her head hanging freely as if she was unconscious. The scream made Asia look up from her terrible state and onto Issei. As she lifted her head, a hand grabbed her by the jaw. "Oh, look, if it isn't your friend who came here to save you. Such an honorable goal. Too bad it end in both your deaths," yelled the fedora-wearing man. To be honest, I think Rias said his name once, but I forgot. "Okay, I need to do the smart thing here. Don't get taunted into doing something reckless or stupid. Just save Asia and get out of here alive with all your friends relatively unharmed. My fellow priests, this filth has entered a holy place where no such evil creature should exist, so smite them down for all that is holy in the world," Fedora Man shouted, and all the priests walked forwards, swords at the ready to strike us down. "Issei-kun, you go save the girl, Kaneko-chan, and I got this," Kiba said as he and Kaneko took battle stances. Without thinking, I nodded at him and sprinted up the stairs while hearing sounds of combat below me. Once I got to the top of the stairs, Asia started screaming as a green light started to exit through her. The light floated into the hands of the fedora man. He put the green light inside his own and 2 rings appeared, one on each hand. "The color doesn't really suit me, but then again this power does," he said, checking out the rings on his hands. Asia slumped down, hanging freely from the cross to which she was chained to, until the fedora man let her fall from the chains by a snap of his fingers. I ran and caught her before she could hit the hard concrete floor. I laid her down gently to make her as less uncomfortable as possible. "Come on, Asia, you are going to be fine, Issei-san." She barely opened her eyes. Her voice was weak as she spoke my name. I could tell she has trouble staying awake, and her breathing was forced. Asia's face was all red and her forehead covered in sweat. "Don't worry, I'll get you out of here alive," I told her. But I'm not sure if she heard me. "You can take for all I care, but I can't have you leave this place alive, so I guess you'll die together with her." I didn't risk anything. He said I'm going to die, and I'm not stupid to look at him attacking me, so I took Asia and jumped down the stairs. I passed Kiba and Kaneko, who were still fighting the priests, whose numbers were now a lot lower. "Issei-san, you run, Kaneko-chan, and I will make a way for you to escape. Now run," Kiba yelled at me while blocking a random sword of light. Kaneko didn't say anything and just kept on fighting. I ran back to where we fought freed. I was out of breath and tired. Going up those stairs while carrying someone is no easy task. I laid Asia on one of the still intact pews. I shook her, trying to get her to wake up. "Come on, Asia, wake up," I shook her by the shoulder. She didn't wake up at first, but then I shook stronger, and she woke up. She opened her eyes halfway, her face red and full with sweat, the hair strewn about on the pew under her. "Issei-san, I'm glad that I made a friend." With those last words she closed her eyes. I closed my eyes as I could feel the tears start to form in my eyes. Clenching her hand more tightly, I could only hope that she was taking a nap. But I knew better. She isn't going to wake up ever again. Well, would you look at that? A devil being hopeful in a church. It's not something you see every day. That voice, it's him. Because of him Asia had to die. An innocent girl who never did anything wrong yet was killed just so someone else could gain power. Fedora Man has to pay. I turned towards him. Rage, hate, and anger was all I could think of, and all of it is directed at him, the one who killed Asia. "Oh, so you want to put up a fight before I kill you? Okay, I will give you a warrior's death." He readied himself as I could feel the weight of my sacred gear on my right wrist. I charged at him. No plan of attack, no super weapon on my side. Just blind rage is driving me to kill him. As I was about to reach him, he flew up, his dark wings spread wide as he was near the ceiling. Fedora Man spread his arms, his palms wide open as light started to form in them until it took a solid form of light spears. "Boost!" my sacred gear called out, and I could feel my strength rise. Goodbye. With those words he threw the spears. Unfortunately for me, the spears were too fast, and I couldn't dodge even with my boosted strength. I cried out as the spears pierced my legs above my knees. The pain is unbearable. It was spreading from my wounds like some poison that would erase me from the earth if it gets to every part of my body. But I can't give up just because of that. If I go down, I'm taking Fedora Man with me. You know, even if you only have a twice critical, it can still be somewhat strong, because it depends on how strong the user's will is. The stronger the will, the stronger the sacred gear. Dragon Booster. Now he looked surprised, not expecting to hear that, but then again neither did I, and I didn't care, as I could feel more power coming to me. No, that's not possible. I reached for the spears and grasped them in my hands. The searing pain was like nothing I felt before, but slowly I pulled them out and it hurt like a bitch. The gaping holes in my legs was something I didn't pay attention to. I was more focused on how I would kill this bastard in front of me. I threw one spear which he dodged, and the second one got him in his left wing, staggering him. Time to pay for your actions without hesitation, and much pain. I ran to Fedora Man and hit him right in the, knocking all his air out of his lungs and cracking some ribs with my boosted strength. How? It was only supposed to be a twice critical. The words barely left the Fedora Man's mouth as he tried to gasp for air, but only spat out blood. Reset. I did not fare well either, as I lost a lot of blood through my legs. I fell down as well, my wounded legs not able to support me anymore. Now there was silence, and only the ragged breathing of the two of us could be heard. I didn't want to think about Asia and the fact that it seems like I'm about to die for second time. So I started to think about the fight downstairs, the one that Kaneko and Kiba are hopefully winning, and lastly Yuma. I just found her and yet I'm losing her again. I don't want to lose her. I don't want to die. I want to be with her. It may sound stupid, but I never had any real friends other than those two perverts, and now may be a chance to make some real friends. And Yuma was guiding me, helping me become a better person, and she still is, and I just don't want to lose all that. Issei, came the screaming voice from where the door once stood. I couldn't look at who it was due to the lack of motor function in my body right now. The sounds of running footsteps echoed in the church, meaning there were more people. Issei, and now I could see Yuma, standing above me. Were these my final moments? The poison is starting to get to me. My head lifted and was put down on something soft, and Yuma's face came closer to mine, tears in her eyes. Lifting my hand to touch to her cheek, I said what I think are going to be my final words. Don't cry, you're prettier with a smile and no tears. And after that all went blank. Normal POV. As Yuma was worrying for her boyfriend, Rias and Akino were looking at the Fedora Man, also known as Danasik. Rias looked upon him with great hate since he greatly injured her newly added peerage member, and not only injured but almost killed him. In fact, to her that was unforgivable. But the man was down, and Issei was more important to her than this fallen angel. Akino, take Issei to the clubroom where I will heal him. Also try to lessen the effects of the light spears. I have to deal with this one. Akino nodded and Yuma stood up, leaving Issei in Akino's care, for now. Akino made a magic circle around her and Issei and disappeared in a flash of light, leaving the three people in the room. Rias now turned to Danasik, his injured foot laid still on the floor. Too injured to even try to heal himself with the stolen sacred gear from Asia. You entered devil territory, stole a sacred gear and greatly injured my peerage member. What do you have to say in your final moments? The redhead asked in an angry tone. Fuck you all, Danasik somehow said through the blood in his mouth. Now it's time for you perish. Sticking one arm out and pointing it at the man on the floor, a dark red energy came out of Rias' hand, the power of destruction. It enveloped the man and screams could be heard until the energy vanished, leaving nothing but a pile of dust on the floor and a glowing green light which enveloped a pair of rings. Soon after the death of Fedora Man, Kiba and Kaneko came from downstairs with cuts and bruises all over them. Kiba-kun, Kaneko-chan, are you alright? Mostly fine. This will heal easily. Kiba waved away his master's worry. Nodding in understanding, Rias picked up the glowing rings on the floor and examined them. They were simple rings, no intricate decorations on them other than the small gems on the top rings. The gems were light green, and were reflective, like a mirror, enabling Rias to see herself in the small gems. Oh, the rings are so pretty, but they don't belong to me, Rias voiced her thoughts. Yuma couldn't help but agree. The rings, the twilight healing was Asia's and they need to return into her. Well, you did ask me to save her, but I can only do that now by turning her into a devil. Do you think she would be okay with that? Rias asked, considering what piece to use on Asia. I think she would be okay with that. Yuma thought it over quickly, but her mind lingered more on Issei's safety. Walking to Asia's body that was laid down on the pew, Rias put the rings into her hands and a bishop piece on her, reciting words from the old devil language to resurrect the nun. The bishop piece sank into her and rings disappeared, only for them to reappear on her fingers. As a few moments passed, the nun started to stir. Standing up, she opened her eyes and confusedly looked around. Don't worry, we are not going to harm you. I brought you back to life because your friend Yuma here asked me to, Rias explained. Asia looked over at Yuma and then back at Rias, wanting to ask a question. Where is Issei-kun? He is injured, so I had him brought back to the clubroom where I will treat his wounds. Also because I brought you back to life, you are a devil now. Asia's eyes widened in shock. She never in her life thought something like this would happen. It's fine, I'm sure God had this in mind for me. A sudden pain went through her head, making her hold on to the pew for balance. You shouldn't use his name anymore. You are a devil after all. Now come on, we can't have you in such filthy rags. Maybe we can put you to go to school with us. You look the age. Asia was still a bit confused on what is happening, so she just nodded. Could I also go with you? I want be with Issei. Yuma wanted to be with Issei, and want better and easier way than to go with his to school, and maybe, just maybe, she will move in with him, or so she hoped. He does seem to care about you a lot, so I see no problem with it, as long as you don't become a problem to us devils. Yuma couldn't contain her happiness and ran to Rias, giving her a big hug and repeating thank you in a very fast and adorable way. And so the night passed away. Rias healed Issei once she got to the clubroom with the rest of the ORC and Yuma and Asia. After she healed him, she brought him back home into his bed, as if nothing happened. Asia was given a school uniform to wear instead of the rags she had on before. Rias also talked to Sona about the former nun and fallen angel joining the school, in which Sonar had no objection to other than the paperwork so late at night. The alarm blared, this time with a girl with a chainsaw and a hokey mask threatening to kill me if I don't wake up. Don't you just love this alarm clock? I sat on my bed, rubbing the sleep out of my eyes and trying to remember what happened last night. I was in the church. I went downstairs, got Asia upstairs, she died. I fought Fedora Man, and then we're both on the ground, bleeding. So how did I make it to my room? Probably Rias did something again. I hate school, and waking up for it. It's such a bother to have it this early in the morning. I went to the bathroom and did my usual morning routine, then I went down for some breakfast. Mom and Dad didn't seem to have noticed anything out of the usual since they act like everything is normal, so I have to learn some of this devil magic. The road to school was very, how do I say it, normal, just the way I like it. No fallen trying to kill me, no monster let loose. Just a normal day at school, I hope. As I entered the schoolyard, I was greeted by my two closest friends, Matsuda and Motohama. The perverted dio, as they are known around school. They are called that because of, well, them being pervs out in the public. Hey Issei, what's up? Wow dude, you like kind of tired, you sleep okay? Asked the former athlete. Yeah, I went to bed late last night so I didn't sleep enough, a half-truth. I did go to bed late tonight, due to me being out cold and all. Aha, whacking the bag where you, his innuendo went with some suggestive eyebrow raising, which I did not appreciate. No you pervs, and I punched him in the shoulder. Seriously, how can someone be a perv this early in the morning, and to think I was once like that? God bless OUCH, and I grabbed my head as a sudden pain went through it. I got to remember not to say that. I'll come up with something different to say in the meantime. Issei, you sure you're fine? Asked Motohama. Yeah, just my brain being a bit too slow right now, I explained. Anyway, let's get to class. The bell is going to ring soon. I just wanted something to lie on, to be honest. On our way to the classroom, Murayama and Keita's crossed our paths. I gave them a nice greeting and we chatted a little while they tried to stay as far away as possible from my other two friends. It looked awkward to say the least. Why they talk normally to you and to us? Matsuda asked. Because I'm not a perv like you two, I answered. I wonder when these two will learn. It took Yuma for me get better, so I wonder what it will take for them. We sat down at our respective seats once we entered the classroom and waited for our teacher. I, of course, put my backpack on the table and tried to use it as a pillow, well, as best as it could function as a pillow, and so I drifted off to the realm of dreams. Say Issei, wake up or you will get a week of detention. Yeah, I'm up, I jerked upwards as I recognized my teacher's voice. The rest of the class was giggling at me and throwing me grins while trying to suppress their laughter, successfully. He sighed and continued with whatever he was going on about. I didn't care, all I wanted was to catch up with some sleep. And now, first off, give a warm welcome to Asia Argento. No, can't be, I saw her die right in front of me. But then I realized Rias must have used the same shit on her as she did on me. So now she is a devil too, I guess. I wonder how she took it. Probably well by the way she is smiling. She didn't notice me yet. Probably because of all the people surrounding her, since she is the new student. She was being overwhelmed by questions and such things. So I just put my head back down, knowing that she is going to be alright. Okay, Asia, you can go and take a seat up here in the front. I fell back to sleep, only to have it interrupted once again after my few minutes of sleep. Someone was shaking my shoulder, and I did not want to have my sleep interrupted again. 5 more minutes, please. My sleepy voice came out muffled due to my mouth being covered with my arm. Come on, Issei, you can sleep later all you want on my lap. I ignored the gasps and whispers that could be heard after that sentence, and focused more on the voice. That voice belonged to one person only, and that's Yuma. I quickly got up and turned to her, giving her a bear hug. I couldn't believe this. She is here, in my school, and by the looks of what she is wearing, a student too. I couldn't be happier. Her arms stretched around me, hugging me back. Her soft touch was something I missed so much. I missed you, I whispered to her. I missed you too, Issei, Yuma whispered back. The moment was perfect, but of course we are still in a classroom, full of students, and a teacher. The stares made us feel out of place, so we broke our overdue hug. Miss Amano, I'm sure that you are happy to join this class, but please refrain from making such hasted judgment of character from people you don't know. The teacher was bullshitting. We all know he loves romantic movies and stuff like that, but I guess his job does come first in this situation. The girls were looking at us with stars in their eyes as if we were the happy ending of the best romance movie ever created, while the boys had either look of confusion, anger, or jealousy. Miss Amano, you can take the seat next to Asia. Motherfucker, he just saw us hugging all lovingly and he doesn't even want to put us next to each other. Maybe he is scared that my grades would drop if he does that. But still, like, dude, not cool. Yuma silently walked and sat down next to Asia, and just like her, she was surrounded by students who are asking her in rapid fire. I just put my head back down onto the table and chuckled at how Yuma was being swallowed in the sea of students with questions. Eventually the teacher stopped Yuma's suffering by regaining the control of the students by threatening them all with detention. Once the class has ended, everyone once again rushed to ask the new girls some questions. While Asia could now escape the horde of people, Yuma did manage to escape them somehow. But before Yuma could reach me, my 2 friends wanted to talk to me. Excuse us, Yuma-chan, we have some business with this man right here and would like to deal with it as soon as possible, Motohama told Yuma before he and Matsuda turned to me. They were surprisingly polite about it. Dragging me off to a corner of the classroom, my talking with Yuma was delayed yet again. Where did find her? She is hot as hell itself, Motohama said while the other was holding me so I could not get away. I told you guys, on the bridge near my way home. Don't you remember? I wonder if their memory of Yuma were still gone. Maybe I can play it off as if they had just forgotten about me telling them. Well, there is no arguing that she is your girlfriend, and for that we can only be proud of you for scoring with such a hot chick. Dude, she is not any hot chick, okay? And no perving on her. I looked at them with an intense glare. They were not intimidated, but they got the point that this was not something to be messed with. Okay, but please hook a brother up, Matsuda begged. I gave them a look. I knew that with how they are now there is no way I could help them. But they are my brothers, so I can't just turn a blind eye. Yeah, brothers, I'll see what I can do. Okay, thanks man, now I think we held you up for long enough, yo girls waiting for you. And so they let me go of the captivity, where I immediately took the chance to grab Yuma by the hand and led us off to the old school building. Not many students are near the old school building other than the ORC members. So how did you get here? As a student, I asked as we turned a corner in the hallway. Well, I asked Rias to enroll me here so that I could be closer to you, her answer. Nothing other than caring. I don't know how I came to deserve such a loving girlfriend, but I will do my best to keep her with me. Coming up to the door that led to the ORC, and wow, déjà vu all over again. I turned the knob on the doors and entered. Inside were the rest of the ORC club. Even Asia was already here. I have no idea how she got away from the mobs, but okay. Rias turned to us, probably expecting us. Ah, I see you were finally able to join us. Welcome Yuma and Asia to the Occult Research Club. Clever disguise, don't you think? Rias started dramatically but was all cool like at the end. Yeah, Yuma agreed, tightening her grip on my hand. So Issei, we got you your girlfriend into the same class. What do you think this time? Akino asked. Her smile never wavered and her eyes half closed. Well, I think that I couldn't be happier now. There was nothing to lie about. And as much as I want to spend more time with Yuma, I really needed to catch up on my sleep. Letting go of Yuma's hand, I laid down on the opposite couch from where Kaneko was eating, and Yuma followed, sitting on one end and letting me place my head on her soft thighs. As I was trying to fall asleep on her lap pillow, Yuma was stroking my hair. After a good 20 minutes of sleeping, I was woken up by someone entering the room. Hi Sona, what's up? Rias asked. Well, since we both have got some new peerage members, I thought we could introduce them. I couldn't see her because I was still lying down. Wait, I feel a fallen in this room, I heard a guy's voice say, and it wasn't Kibis. Sitting up, I looked at who said that. Some guys with blonde hair that is in a mess, similar height as me and some stupid look on his face. Yes, indeed there is a fallen here, but she is of no threat to us, since she has joined my peerage. Introduce yourself please, Rias explained. Yuma stood up and walked to the guests to introduce herself. Hello, my name is Rainier, but my human name is Yuma. Nice to meet you. Da fuck, so I have been calling my girlfriend but the wrong name. I didn't even know her real name was Rainier. Never mind, I'll talk to her about it later. I too stood up to introduce myself. Hi, my name is Issei Hayadu, the new pawn of Rias Gremory. Nice to meet you. Asia did the same as me, except she introduced herself as a bishop. Very well, I shall too introduce myself to your new servants. I am Sona Citri, and this is my new pawn, Saji Genshir. Sona pointed to the blonde guy. Well, Saji and I are the same pieces, the pawn. Also, I would like to discuss about the familiar forest, since tomorrow will be a full moon and you know that the familiar master only take one peerage at a time. Sona's voice was monotone and lacked any sort of emotion. Oh, is that a challenge? Smell. How about some sport events tomorrow? The winner takes their peerage to the forest. I could sense that these two are something akin to rivals, just by the tone of Rias's words. Very well, see you tomorrow, Rias. And so Sona took her leave together with her peerage. I didn't have long to think as I wanted to talk to Yuma, I mean Rainier, about this name thing. But I was interrupted by Rias. Okay, so Issei, I got some news for you. Her arms were behind her as if she was a little girl and her was raised this way. But I have learned where a woman's eyes are, so I had no troubles right now. Since you and Rainier here a couple, with her joining this school she will need a place to stay. I told Sona to put your address as hers as well when she was being enrolled. That okay with you? That is great news. Yuma will be living with me. But wait, what about my parents? And I decided to voice my thoughts. To this Rias answered with just some magic will do the trick. And that is how I am now in front of my house carrying some of Yuma's luggage while Rias was talking with mom and dad. Thanks for watching this video. You really enjoy this video. Like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification. Don't forget to support and follow Tommy98 for writing that awesome fanfic, and also make sure to comment on this story, link in the description. See you in the next video. Goodbye.